Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to your favorite podcast here, where we talk about all things Richmond Kickers. Before we get started, make sure you're following River City 93 wherever you listen to the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that like button and just share the channel with a friend, a fellow Kickers friend out there. There's a lot of them to pick from the attendance over the weekend, so send it to one of them so they can help the channel grow. And if you listen to your favorite podcast app, be sure to follow the show and leave us a review. It really helps us spread the word, the gospel of the Richmond Kickers. Now, with all that being said, let me introduce my two co-hosts. First and foremost, I have a man who is just watching college basketball, trying to figure out what went wrong with Maryland, and he probably knows what did. It's Mr. Matt Myers. How are you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fine. If you have an extra like 3 hours, I can go into all the reasons of what's wrong and why this happened, this year. But that's nobody wants. Maybe a couple people want to listen to that, but I don't think y'all want to.
That's on River City 93 Uncut, folks. Make sure to subscribe for that. That's behind the scenes. It's paywall access there. And our second co-host today is going to go watch a 10-hour movie about why leprosy sucks. It is Kate. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I actually don't know the plot of Ben-Hur, so I'm gonna.
Oh, you're gonna learn it very well.
I got no.
Kate, it's very progressive for its time. It's all about Ben becoming a her.
Oh,
very trans progressive.
I believe. See, you could tell me anything. I'd believe you. I'm watching every Best Picture, and so sometimes you'll just hear me saying I'm about to watch some random movie from the 1950s for absolutely no reason. So next Sunday before this podcast, the other half of the paywall episode will be me doing a review of Ben-Hur. Pay your extra $10 now because you don't want to miss this.
A 90-hour movie. Kate's about to watch it and enjoy it. We're talking about 90 minutes. Guys, let's start off with this U.S. Open Cup game against Nova FC, second time playing this opponent in the U.S. Open Cup. Happened on Tuesday. I want to make sure I get the day right. But, y'all, some interesting things as well. I don't know if you guys know these facts or not, but here's a couple of facts for the match. Richmond won this game. They improved to 39-2 all time in the U.S. Open Cup. I don't even know how we have two draws, but they're there.
That doesn't sound right.
Hey,
I'm pretty sure we've lost more than 9 times.
It's above me. So these are facts that came from the club. Tuesday matchup marked the club's 26th U.S. Open Cup appearance. And then this is Richmond's 30th home win in the U.S. Open Cup competition. 39-2 all-time at home in the U.S. Open Cup.
There we go. That makes a lot more sense.
That makes a lot more sense. Ta-da! Mm-hmm. There we go. I was like, something about this doesn't sound right. And then when you read it, it makes a lot more sense. That's when you have notes, folks. So, yeah, U.S. Open Cup. We played a familiar foe in FC Naples. Matt, I'm going to start off with you.
No, we didn't.
God. Nova FC. I'm trying to read the notes and I'm getting all mixed up. We played Nova FC. Matt, how do you think Richmond played against Nova FC, the team that likes to start fights at the end of games?
They played well enough to win.
Okay.
It looked a lot like Alta. I mean, not as defensively, stuck in. Held the ball a little bit more, but it wasn't pretty. It wasn't what do you call fun to watch in any way. Thank goodness, they had a defender who likes to stay like 4 yards, off, the rest of his defenders on the back line, so Kirkland could get an easy breakaway. But there wasn't a whole lot else happening. And then, at the very end, you got it 2-0, but you hope against an amateur team that you're not just kind of defending and holding on for dear life, and that's what it felt like for a lot of the game. That forward that they had, he seemed pretty good. Yeah, he's a junior at like UC Irvine or something. I looked it up. So he was literally home on spring break.
Yeah, he was here. Hold on, wait. I thought college players weren't allowed to play in the Open Cup. Did I miss that?
I don't know what the rules are anymore.
Yeah.
And
all these USL2 teams have a lot of college players on them. So, yeah, clearly if that had been a rule, it's now changed because there were a lot of USL2 teams upsetting some of their USL compatriots higher up in the divisions.
Kate, I'm going to come to you with this. I'm gonna ask you this. Matt mentioned how Richmond kind of looked like they just wanted to stay in their own box, not really be too open, but play defensively safe. Is that a good approach to have in these early rounds of the Open Cup, given what happened last year? You did see a lot of experimentation from Darren. It's pretty much the 10-11. Your thoughts on it?
I guess, in this context, I can understand the concern around conceding goals in any match because of how leaky the team was last season. But at least from the one preseason match we watched and, the handful of matches we've seen so far, the team does look defensively stronger. So it's not that, okay, yes, that's great. We saw evidence of that in this Open Cup match, but you're not going to get very many opportunities to test your attacking complement in a lower stakes environment. Like, we're kind of fighting for every single point in the league. And this felt a bit like an opportunity to try to build some chemistry going forward, because that is what we've really seen lacking so far, at least in the 2 matches before this. So I can understand the sort of siege mentality that, based on the last couple seasons, they're bringing into it, but it did feel like an opportunity to try to build some attacking chemistry, because we haven't seen any as of now. So it was like a little disappointing, because it really did feel like, okay, like you're not really going to get like a wider open opportunity to try that. And it didn't really feel like we saw much inventiveness going forward. It was still just whack it long to Kirkland and Energizer Bunny it, forward. And I got to say, I was pretty unimpressed with Owen O'Malley. And so I was a little surprised to see him then start again this weekend, because I guess Dourado and Espinal both are working back to fitness, ? I don't really know if Dourado was coming in with an injury. I don't know why he's not playing more, but a little, obviously we got the job done, scored a couple goals, but that seemed like an opportunity, and I am a little confused why we didn't take it.
Yeah, if you want to look at the positive side of it, is there's another opportunity for the defense, the defensive midfield, to be able to work together, to be able to kind of get those reps, because based on what we're seeing so far, they are going to be the absolute backbone of this team. So getting that familiarity built up, getting them used to knowing who likes to cover where, how they want to work the ball out, track runners, all those sort of things. There were a couple times Nova got guys a little more open than would have cared to. Yann came up with one really big save in that game, so he's definitely paying for himself already back there. So that's the upside of it, is that these guys who are showing quite well so far, pretty much across the board in the back, are getting that at reps in, and showing that what at least appears to be the challenge of the offseason of figure out what the hell's going on with this defense is being achieved.
Yeah. I know we talked. I know, Kate, you brought it up about how like the playing kind of seemed like whacking along to Kirkland, which is not wrong. Like that's pretty much what it's been. But my bad. I do want to shout out Dak. He had an assist in this game, which was a beautiful play ball, like a well-weighted ball. Also 3 recoveries and 2 interceptions. So it was also weird in this game that he seemed to went down with like some kind of mysterious knee injury or something, but was able to come back against FC Naples. Pretty decent in that one. Another note from this Naples game, Lucca Dourado, he had an excellent goal scored in the, 89th minute. Watching it up in the press box, I'm not going to lie to you, I thought the ball went out of balance. And then I saw the Red Army celebrate. I was like, oh, he scored. How was it down there for y'all? Like, did you guys know he scored as soon as he shot it, or were you guys kind of like waiting to see the reaction?
I think we had a pretty good angle on it. So it took a wicked bounce where you had that half second where you weren't sure if it was going to bounce in or out when it hit the it ricocheted once or twice. So there was that sort of like holding your breath to see which way it would go. But yeah, that was fun. Obviously, when a new guy scores, they don't always know the drill. Maybe come over and celebrate with the supporters group, but that's okay. They're learning, hopefully first of many, and he'll have at the Section O end, and he'll have the opportunity to come over and celebrate with us. But it was an understated celebration from him as well. So yeah, maybe he wasn't entirely sure.
He's not used to celebrating with Madison fans because they're too posh up there. He doesn't understand how to celebrate in front of a real fan base yet. So we just gotta give him time. We gotta give him time.
He's back to it. He's back to an even now on his register here. Yeah, he's paid off that one debt that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Also, 2 more players I wanted to shout out in this game. We kind of talked about the defensive side. Sean Vinberg had 4-4 on his ground duels, won 2 of his aerial duels and 3 tackles. Hayden Anderson, 2 successful dribbles, 16 passes into the final third, and 3 ground duels won and 3 aerial duels won. So, with all this being said, Matt, we already know who we're playing next. It's Loudoun United. My first question to you is, do you think this is a quote-unquote an emerging new rivalry between the Kickers and Loudoun, seeing that we're drawing them and playing them in more significant games? And then 2, if the defense is going to be the backbone of this team, how important is it that Hayden Anderson is our starting left back to this equation?
It's probably a little too early to really call it a rivalry with a team in a different league that, we're playing for the second time in a competitive environment ever. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this next game, we'll play them in the, the Useless Cup in, June, too. But who cares about that? Could it maybe grow into something longer term? Possibly. I think it's forced in, the short term, though, to be able to try to call it something that should grow organically instead. In terms of how to get through, I think it's a lot of what we've seen so far. Like Loudoun's got dudes, like they're not just a DC reserve team anymore. They actually go out and sign championship guys with that aren't like 19. They get like actual grown men now. So it'll be a battle. Is it impossible? No. I mean, the defense, again, if the defense, shows that they can be able to stay tight, anything can happen. Maybe want to make sure we're practicing, penalties, because that's how it went wrong last time. Thanks, Arthur Boschua. You were useful. But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I watched Loudoun play yet this year. But I assume they're not going to be bad.
Just looking at their record right now, they lost their opening game against Pittsburgh and drew against Miami FC. They said bottom, well, not bottom, near the bottom of the East, but I mean the whole table's all whacked up. But yeah,
I don't think we want to use that as the standards for right now.
Yeah. So yeah, Loudoun United home game, April 1st. Make sure you guys are there. After spring break weekend, I'm expecting. Would you expect the same kind of average crowd given that spring break? What was it? Like 2.5? on Tuesday? Do y'all remember what the attendance was?
I do
No
not.
idea.
Let me look and see if it's on. FOTMob called it in accurately.
I
Nope.
mean,
No attendance numbers on FOTMob.
okay. Well, hey.
2.5 sounds like it was probably more than it really was.
I don't know if they posted it because the stands were so empty.
Yeah.
The weather did not cooperate. So
No.
hopefully the weather's a little nicer on April 1st and yeah, brings folks out. And also it being on a holiday was fun, but it also meant it was competing with maybe some more specifically themed events earlier this week. So maybe a April Fool's Day matchup will.
It says run it back.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah. That's it about the U.S. Open Cup. I mean, hey, it'd be great. It's better than how it went last year. So keep it going.
That shouldn't be the standard. Yeah, I'm sorry. That is. I know you're saying it jokingly, but that shouldn't be the standard of. Oh well, it was better than last year. Last year was a flaming tire fire, right?
Oh yeah, overall.
Yeah. Oh well, it's better than last year. This time, we lost to an amateur team by 1. You see how ridiculous that statement is?
Well,
and luckily, it's statements like that are currently being made or will be made by many of our peer podcasts in the USL1 space because not every matchup against amateur teams went as kindly.
Yeah. And Elliot, you kind of touched upon this. There's a
Mhm.
little skirmish at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think we saw, other games too. These little rank ass amateurs, they get down, 2-0 late in an Open Cup game. They lose their mind and get somebody sent off. You saw that in the Madison game.
I need to go back and watch the Madison game. Oh, I need to go back and watch it. I just saw the result. And I was like, oh, someone got sent off. Yeah, hey. There's apparently a sea hotter than there, and it's up in Madison, Wisconsin. Which I love. I love that. But we move on from that game. We go ahead. We move on to the FC Naples game. Happened on Saturday. So let me set the scene for this. Richmond pretty much looked like they wanted to play the same way. And I've literally, for every game so far, I've been keeping notes about how the Kickers play and how the opponent wants to play. In every note for the first degree, it has been game plan looks to play compact defensively, limit clear chances in front of goal, and to catch the team in behind. Does that seem about right?
I think that's too many details. Look, we were talking college basketball earlier. It's very simple game plan. Defense.
There you go. Yeah, y'all pull in doing the work of the Lord. Also, Sean Vinberg and Sam Lane as well. FC Naples, on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, seeing them in person, that team is quick. And I thought it was just like they're quick because of the type of field they played on in Naples. Like, no. They're just that team is quick. They will send numbers forward. But the first half, let's start off. Goal happened, 25th minute. Matt, I'll start off with you. Are you disappointed the Kickers let in this kind of goal, or are you kind of just like, it was kind of par of course?
I mean, obviously disappointed they let in a goal.
I mean, okay, yes.
Right? Like,
but are you disappointed?
I'd rather us not be losing. I mean, it is a decent enough goal. Like, I saw you, trying to give Yann shit about, letting that goal in on your little post-game vlog. You're insane if you think that he should have done something about that.
Oh, no. I was more so when I was watching it live, I thought, like, because I saw Yann run up to the ref. And I was like, is he asking for offsides on that? Because I was like, or like somebody blocking his view, which I'm like, you're not going to get at this level anyway. So that's the only thing that I was like.
Your exact quote was, Yann, I don't know. Should he have done better with that?
Oh, yeah, maybe. Maybe so.
There's nothing he can do there. Like, guy got open, on a cross. I mean, nice flicked header goes in like into the side netting. Like, it happened. I still couldn't really tell even after watching, the replay a couple times if, Bachstein, whatever his name was, got a touch, on it and redirected it even further in, or if it went in straight off of O'Connor's head. I mean, either way, decent enough goal. I mean, if you really, really want to get on guys, it could be like, all right, shouldn't let the guy get that much space to be able to cross the ball in, or stay tighter on the guy flashing away from goal. Sometimes it'll happen a little bit too.
Yeah. No, you're right. I probably shouldn't have said that. When I first saw it, I thought Yann just stood flat-footed. I don't know why. I had flashbacks to, like, who was it, Pablo? You should just stand flat-footed and get caught like that. But no, yeah, you're right. Yann's actually a good goalkeeper. Which, by the way, Yann, 3 games so far, has got 1 clean sheet. Pablo played, 30, 40 games for the Kickers? Only kept 1. So, Yann's already better. I like that for us. So I think the moment we're all here to really talk about that, I'm pretty sure fans want to hear us talk about, is the red card in this game. They seemed, I don't know how you guys felt about it, but for me, it felt like it kind of changed how this match was going to go. And I say that knowing that the Kickers didn't really do a whole lot offensively prior to.
I was going to say, I don't feel like it changed much about how the match was going in any
but
way.
I still think I will say this.
It put like a ceiling on it. Felt like how much.
Like I was already cool going into this game with a draw. People was asking me before, like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "I feel good with a draw." When that red card happened, I was like, "Okay, the ceiling is definitely now a draw." Anything after that is a con. Prior to that, Tyler Freeman gets hurt, and hoping he can come back. But then Andrew Richman comes in, and I'm pretty sure you guys, as much as me, have watched this over and over again. Is it a red card?
Well, so what we seem to have been told is that the rule doesn't offer much gray area for a player landing on top of another player. Like a cleat connecting up, down on another player, according to the rule books, is an automatic red card. But the rules don't really take into account the fact that a lot of the time that contact cannot be avoided due to the action of the player who is then stamped. So I guess by the books, according to the letter of the law, that is supposed to be a red card, and there is no room for nuance in interpretation of that rule. But in practice, the quote heard around the world, I don't know what he's supposed to do about gravity. There was nothing he could have done in that moment to avoid stepping on him. So yeah, you really do have to question like the value, like what the rule, the spirit of the law is supposed to be in that consideration, which is supposed to be like the flip side of refereeing.
Yeah. In no world do I think Andrew meant to even foul him in any way, because if he did, it would have been the other foot that he would have gone in on him with. That foot was intended to be his plant foot as he tried to keep going forward, and who was, I think, Messias kind of just slid in there. And I mean, after watching enough times, I was able to kind of isolate. Yes, there's definitely contact there. It's not like it was a complete phantom card all together. Yeah, I mean, you don't want referees to actually have to kind of judge intent, because then you get into some really gray area nonsense later on. But at the same time, it's like, come on, like you can kind of see this and recognize that there was no intent, certainly nothing malicious, anything there. I mean, I think if you run that back and give it a yellow, I don't think anybody's really going to say or
Naples thought that they were getting the red card because as soon as it happened, they sent one of their subs to go warm up. So even the coaching staff thought that their player's tackle was the one that earned the straight red. So not even the players on the field understood what the referee was.
Oh, I took that as, he might be hurt. Let's warm up a sub in case he's hurt.
Like even in the media box, when the foul happened, we saw it on the field. We saw the ref pull out a red. We were like, "Oh, Naples is going down the man." So, like, King, you've been on when the like red hat calls in, it was like, oh, foul. And he said, 41 red card. And we were like, wait, there's no 41 on FC Naples. And then they realized, like, oh, snap, this is Andrew Richman getting the red card. At most, I'm not gonna lie, as many times as I rewatched it, I thought at most it could have been a yellow FC Naples for the studs up. It is that maybe like if you want to go in that.
I know it is really interesting.
Like 50-50 and like
that the original tackle also went unpunished when that was also pretty reckless, a reckless challenge.
Right. So I don't know. Yeah.
But I think the key thing, with all this is we shouldn't let this red card distract, from the overall, performance, the overall, style and structure of, what this team is looking like. Because leading up to that point wasn't good. And in fact, I could make an argument that red card might have actually, sparked, the team to realize they need to change something, that they're going to get, back into this game, because, it made them probably have to chase a little more intentionally than if it was just, okay, we're down 1-0. We can be able to, pivot from them, later on. Let's just, keep on keeping on. So it's not an argument I would like want to go to court with or anything, but based on what we saw for the first 40 minutes, the red card was not the cause of this result.
Second half, I mean, man, leading into talking about the second half, like I will say this, I credit the Kickers a lot with how they performed in this game, because how many times have we seen it before where a Kickers team gets a red card and they just mentally collapse, like they give up a goal, go down 2-0, and then it's, oh, we give them one. Now, granted, there was still like this ref was giving yellows. Like I think we had combined in this game with the red card and yellow cards on both teams, there were more yellow cards given out than shots on target. So this ref, and most of them were on the Kickers. So the fact that one, we didn't get a second yellow or another red card, and then two, we limited a lot of FC Naples chances. Now they did have one chance in the 49th minute where Yann made, a very impressive diving save, which I realized that that's kind of like his thing now at this point. Like the man can make a good diving save, but they didn't give up anything really to FC Naples. And like, man, like you said, like even though they were down a man, like the Kickers and the energy was still in the stadium. Now that can be due to maybe it's the first game, the crowd is into it or whatever. But the fact that this team was still attacking, still being competent defensively, and limiting an FC Naples team who thrives on space, I think you can walk out of here and still be disappointed about the loss, but walk away with it for more positives, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think part of it is also on Naples, too. Like if I'm them, you going into the second half up 1-0, and I've watched the game tape of the Alta game and the Nova game. Yeah, my first thought is I'm not letting them get behind, because kicking the ball long is all they've had so far. They haven't shown that they can be able to build anything. So priority one is be safe. Don't do anything stupid and give away a good chance. If a good chance comes for us, awesome. Let's go for it. Let's take it. But safety first. And that kind of felt like most of the second half is there wasn't a whole lot happening. Like there was that save that Yann had. He had another really routine save a few minutes later. Ponholzer had a really good chance, probably should have scored. But then after that, until like stoppage time, not a lot happened in that game.
Yeah,
no,
and I think that's by design.
Let's see. Yeah, even like the match half notes, like they mentioned something in the 55th minute about Kirkland getting on to the end of a long ball from Sam. But then, really to the 90th minute, that's when you had the header go just past the post from, I believe, Dak. And then 90+3, that's when Darwin, who makes his return, so we know he's healthy and alive, gets a good save out of Delgado there at the end of the game. But, not much happened. But, I mean, the Kickers, didn't just bunker in and go fade away. They tried to get down, at least down the end of the field.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, obviously, the one thing that we haven't said it on the pod, we haven't really had an opportunity to talk about it, but the fact that there seems to be a gaping hole in the midfield. Obviously, Neil Seufert has yet to make his season debut, and obviously, he's someone we'd be hoping would be more visible in connecting our back line to our attackers through the center, because right now there doesn't seem to be any progress through the middle. Maybe like if that seems to be by design right now because we don't have the personnel for it, which is fine. But obviously, leaving
Is it?
I would hope.
I would say yes.
I would hope.
I would say yes.
Hope that is by design because of it.
Oh, I meant is it fine? It's very clearly by design. Is it fine though?
For now,
Yeah.
if we don't have a player who, like, Barnathan is defensive, and then we have wingers. So if Austin Amer is the one player who's, supposed to be filling the entire midfield, that's a tall order. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes when we do have a true box-to-box midfielder, a competent, like, box-to-box midfielder. But it definitely, someone said, in the Discord, I think it was Alex saying, will we see the tactics change when the personnel availability changes? Like whether or not this current shape is a adjustment due to the current limitations with who we might consider our starting 11. And, if you reframe it like that, you could say, all right, there's we've seen worse results in these circumstances in the past. So clearly, like, there's defensive strength here. We're not getting blown out. And then we're hearing, oh, well, if we only had XYZ, obviously the game would look different. I think the potential concern is that Neil Seufert is only one player. And, if there's some sort of hope that our transition through the midfield will somehow improve by leaps and bounds with him in the team. But if he's not in the team, this is the best we can expect. That definitely does raise some questions about our results. If we can't score goals when we're playing defensively sound or against a team like Naples, and you can only score an intensely fluky goal against Alta, it definitely does raise a couple questions that, this is fine for now, but is this the team's ceiling essentially? And the only thing standing between this and a better performance is literally only Neil Seufert. Like that's
I mean, I do think Darwin coming back, will be able to help that because he's somebody who's been, proven in this league to be able to hold the ball, also be able to create for himself. Elliot mentioned
and score on the break.
He had that shot at the very end of the game. I mean, that was literally, the classic Darwin Espinal move that we saw him score probably like 5 goals with last year, including one on Delgado. So maybe he remembered that and was ready for that shot, dipping into the far post on him this time. But I think that's got to be something that'll help along the way. But absolutely, hear your point. Like Dourado getting healthy might be able to help out, with that too.
Yeah.
But the flip side of that is you go back to what Darren's been kind of preaching this off season of getting guys who are essentially replaceable parts for one another, which that would suggest to me that all right, if the talk is legitimate, Amer's supposed to be able to be the guy who just steps in for Niels and is able to replace him and do his job. Do I expect it at the exact same level? No, of course not. But you would think that he's supposed to be the reasonable facsimile, for him.
Right there. He's done a fine job. I think Amer, these 3 games that we've seen him play, has been. You could argue if like 6 out of 10 is like an average bank performance. He's maybe been like a 6.5, 6.6, right? Nothing amazing,
And he hasn't caused any problems, which
Right,
is also
fine on the
we've seen in
defense,
the
but
past.
there's nothing in the midfield right now. Like when we have the ball in midfield, might as well just not exist in any way,
Oh
shape, or
no,
form.
I'm not. I'm not disagreeing with you on that at all. Like, do I want to see this midfield continue more? Yes, 100%. I was saying, like, in terms of him, like his performances, they haven't been.
Yeah, they've been
He's the weak
completely.
why. Like, if you take him out, things
Right,
will get.
sure, but at the same time, when he's essentially the midfield, there's has to be some accountability there. Otherwise, unless you want to say this is all style issue from Darren, which I'm open to that conversation too.
But it is also.
But it can't be both. It can't be the midfield is giving nothing and he's been doing well.
Well, no,
Because
I was
he's the only
saying,
one,
this is
too.
going to your point, Matt, about how if Neil Surford is like midfield 1, and we drop behind to midfielder 2, like the second, like the backup quarterback, the Jameis Winston of the team, he does a functional job. Like, yeah, it's not going to be the same performance, but if he's being functional in this team, so far, 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw, he's been functional. Is it just more so like if you improve or if you get your QB1 back into that spot, things look better? Or
better hope so, right?
Yeah, I really hope.
Right.
And also, I mean, ideally,
Okay.
if Dourado and Espinal are around Amer, then maybe that patches over some of his. Not like again, like I don't want to say deficiencies because he's not he hasn't like been the reason we've conceded him specifically. It's not like he's making the team worse, but it does seem to feel like the midfield like is
there's a cap.
Is the idea that once Seufert is back, we'll have a midfield and we won't have a midfield if he's not? Because it's been like it's like the entire we're trying to circle the ball around the edges of the field, and if the ball's in the midfield.
And of course, we're also all assuming he goes into that spot and doesn't go into the Tyler Freeman spot.
Right.
Well, assuming that Lucca can get up to speed, I'm assuming that he hasn't started just because of he probably hasn't been training since the whole Tormenta fiasco. He might be training on his own, but nothing official. Coming into Richmond, learning what to do. He looked good so far. But I'm assuming, like, with Darren's formation has been like a 4-4-2. You assume the next game is probably Lucca and Josh, and then Darwin out on the wing, and see from there and see how things go from there.
I don't know if Darwin's going to be starting this.
Yeah, no, probably not. Darren's probably having flashbacks like, nah.
Yeah, and I think also it goes back. I am still a little curious about the Hayden Anderson, like at back. As in this, I don't know if this is our B team, and that's
this was surprising me before. I didn't mean to cut you off, but so far, like he hasn't looked out of place. Like he's been really well. He's been one of the better performers in this team. Definitely get up and down the field because Meja looks to be more of the defensive fullback, the one who wants to tuck in, fill in that space in the midfield, where Hayden has the ability or to go green light. To be more forward. He looks good in that spot. I'm also wondering what's going on with Ethan Koss because he's supposed to be the starting left back or Daniel Moore.
Yeah, I think Moore is the bigger question of what's happened all of a sudden where he's not getting any minutes.
I've been like worried because if Hayden's doing so well getting forward, I've looked at the numbers.
It might not be a worry thing. It might just be Hayden Anderson has just been so hot.
Yeah, but I don't think Owen O'Malley, who's playing in front of him, has added very much to the team, and so I'm curious as to why we don't have a more defensive-minded left back, and then Hayden actually being able to go forward. I was a little frustrated in the Open Cup match since O'Malley was on our near side and he was just flopping under every single.
I'm not gonna lie, I low-key love it from O'Malley.
Which is fine, but you're going to hit a ceiling there. Like refs are going to stop buying what you're selling. Like at a certain point, and he wasn't taking anyone on, and he wasn't winning.
It took the refs like 3 years to figure out that Emmy, fell down with a light breeze. So might take.
So I guess he's got a leash, but I'm like, he wasn't contributing enough for me to understand why he was in the starting 11, and Hayden pushed back versus what
I
we've
think
seen.
because Hayden naturally can play wing. It's not even a fullback. It's a wing back.
Yeah.
He can naturally play that. And
Right.
O'Malley, it maybe more so is I look at O'Malley as a center mid playing the role of a left mid. Like he's out there to try to help get the ball on field and whatnot. Like do those things like Matt was saying, like slow down the game, get those ticky-tack fouls, maybe shit out. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know, a little roughhousery. Yeah, you know. And maybe that looks totally different when you have a more dynamic winger in front of him. In front of Hayden.
Mm-hmm.
A.k.a. Darwin Espinal, right?
Yeah, I think that for me, the Hayden question comes in two levels, and none of it has anything to do with his performance so far this year because, like you said, he's been quite good in that role. One, I don't think we ever saw him there last year. So
that's what it's kind of surprising.
That's one level of surprise, but the little bit we did get to see at preseason, we didn't see him there either in those games, and. We know Daniel Moore's brought in to play left back. We know Beckett Howell, they still see him as a left back, or we think they see him as a left back because when he came in the other two games, he's playing like left wing, which seemed like a choice to me. But whatever, not the point.
Fullback, we'll call it that.
But I'm just wondering, is it that somehow randomly Hayden just showed out at left back, or was it the other two guys weren't showing them something? They're like, all right, Hayden, let's give you a shot. Okay, this is working.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the first option. I think Hayden might have just probably overperformed. It's the hot wing right now. That's why I'm going. Until I see Daniel on the field officially, and then I'll be like, oh, okay. I see why, this has happened. I'm choosing to believe that.
Yeah, because also Landon started the first match. He's still raw, but I don't know if it was concerning enough that he should have been dropped for the match against Nova. So that was also a question.
That's different. I found that out. He has a blown bruise on his foot. That's why. He has a blown bruise. I talked to his brother. His brother informed me he has a blown bruise. They're just playing it safe with him.
Okay. All right.
Suck. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap this game up. So far, still have not been able to beat FC Naples. Founders are from Alex. In I believe the 8 games we played against Delgado in goal, still haven't won, and we've only scored 4 goals. So, fun stat there.
Okay. Room for growth.
We did get a listener question. Well, really 2. So, I'll ask you guys about it right now. The first listener question is surrounding the red card. Could the Kickers appeal the red card and get it lowered to a yellow? That's the first question. Should they appeal it, and if they could, can they get it down to a yellow, or does it just go away?
Man, I feel like it depends. Like, is it going to cost you money to appeal it? I don't think it's worth the trouble because, not to be mean, it's an academy kid.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, enjoy school on Friday, Andrew. You're not coming to Knoxville.
I mean, look, if it doesn't cost them anything, appeal it. It doesn't hurt. Have an extra body there. But like Matt, you're saying as well, like, it's an academy kid. If it's anyone who could afford the red card, yeah, it's the academy kid. I'm not mad at that. The other list of questions we had pertaining to this game was with Freeman potentially out and Niels potentially back in if he's healthy. Do we expect much of a change in tactics? We kind of already answered this already, but would you guys have seen Tyler Freeman? What do you guys think about him and his partnership with Josh Kirkland so far?
He's hardworking from what we've seen. And at least one of the qualities that you can appreciate in a player who might be in the more supporting role is that he seems to be happy to do it in terms of getting Kirkland on the ball or getting Kirkland in the scoring position, working to get Kirkland in the scoring position. So there hasn't been anything to say but it also hasn't been particularly inspiring or particularly threatening. And I definitely will be excited to see Dourado and Espinal possibly add a little bit more technical finesse to our attack, that maybe they can create something a little more out of the blue. So far, none of the guys who are playing up top like are necessarily designed to beat people on the dribble. So it would be nice to maybe add a little different dimension, because right now we just got a couple workhorses up front, which they work hard, but yeah, need a little unpredictability, I think.
Yeah. It's a little underwhelming. I don't know if it's totally his fault so far. I rewind back to the whole, is there a midfield, in this attack, concept, to kind of get to the point of that. And to me, it seems like he's been kind of playing, in that more of attacking midfield, spot, more than anything else. I just don't know if that's probably where he fits the best. I get the vibe that he's going to be a guy who's more dangerous the closer to goal that he gets, and we have Kirkland and Dourado in those spots. So I don't know if I don't expect any kind of shape to change. Let's be perfectly clear about that. I think Darren's talk again about the getting guys who can be interchangeable pieces speaks to he's not interested in changing shapes around. He's interested in being able to pick and plug guys to be able to fit multiple roles within the same shape, because otherwise why would you need that? But yeah, so I don't know if maybe it's getting him out on the left, but then that's probably where Darwin ends up. Maybe it's just going to be a situation where some of these guys are rotated in and out of the bench, and we actually have somebody who, we're being optimistic still, that will be able to be quality coming on in the attack off the bench. It's not there's a clear first 11 and then a bunch of dudes, and it's like, yay, subs.
Yeah. I think it's fair to say, I think all of us, and then you probably ask some of the larger fan base, I think we want more out of the attacking parts of this team. I think we are all praising and happy with the defensive parts of this team so far. Does that feel about right?
It's a considerable step up from what we saw
Like,
last season. So they've set themselves a very low bar, and they have cleared it so far. But we'll have to see.
I mean, like in this instance, like the players who stood out to me in this game was Yann with the 3 saves and the 2 punches. And then the center back duo, Sean Vinberg and Sam Layton. And Matt, me better than anyone else. You help me jog my memory on this. It's been a long time since we had a center back duo of 2 center backs, not just one, but 2, where we feel safe with them back there, right? Probably going back to 2022, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, it probably depends on how you want to classify it, but then we had the whole 3-headed monster for a while with Dak and Ani, and
oh yeah,
Chrysler.
Chrysler was there. Like Yvonne was part of it before, too. So it's happened before. I mean, yeah, the upside of this is we haven't had any Roadrunner and Coyote, absolute bonehead plays, so far.
No.
Go check out today's Omaha Boise game.
Oh my gosh, that was horrible. It's bad.
If you want to flash back to what could have been.
Who was the player in that? Was it the defender who got given the own goal?
Yeah, because he went off his boot. The
That's
goalkeeper
just
thought
evil.
fell back, threw it forward, and it bounced off the defender shoe.
Yeah. So none of that, which is perfectly happy with. I mean,
that player did score actually later in the match. He scored a real goal, so I guess.
But I was just talking to some people, yesterday at the tailgate about this. Like, it's not necessarily a worry, because if it works fine, you learn to love it. But right now, and yesterday's game did not change or lighten my opinion of it at all. This team is on a fast track, to being a very boring watch, this year. And again, if you get the results, you learn to love boring and you learn to appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you're not getting the results and it's boring, like, at least last year, some of those games, they weren't good, but there was some excitement in them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I think you can lay it on either one or two sides. Like, if you want to look at it more glass half full, it's like, hey, we're being strong defensively. The team looks more confident. We have a leader in goal. We have two good center backs. Dak looks mobile. It's a win. And Kirkland is scoring. If you want to look at the glass half empty, which I also think is a bad way to look at it, the offense looks kind of haphazard. If you take Kirkland out of it, there's not a lot of hope on the wings. And there's a huge misconnection between the defensive midfield transition to the offensive transition.
Yeah. I think one piece of that we haven't talked about yet, we've given praise, to the defense, but like the good versions of Darren teams, those fullbacks are major contributors into the attack. I mean, even not the not good versions of Darren teams, like, Maxey, is a major contributor. Like, Simon always looked a little, mechanical and awkward, but he would be able to get up the wing and help out. Hayden seems to be staying a lot more at home on defense right now, which, again, it's not the end of the world. I haven't loved what Morano's done going forward. Very much. He looks like he should be a lot better at it than he is so far. So I think that's probably, kind of affecting us in a not great way, into the attack.
Best case scenario, he's still like getting back in the swing of playing professionally. Like, I guess right now we can hope that since he
also he just got done with
season,
Ramadan. So that man energy level is like 40% of what it really should be. But I mean, like, yesterday's game was the first game I can remember out of the three where I really saw him like get up the field. Because the AV also game, I didn't see him get up. Like, you're right, man. He kind of stayed at home. Like, he looked like more of the defensive fullback.
Mm-hmm.
The Nova game, once again, he stayed at home a lot more, allowed Hayden to push up. And maybe Darren has adjusted things to where instead of me sending both fullbacks up the field like attacking wingbacks and leaving the wings wide open, I have one stay back, make a pocket back three with Hayden Vinberg and the fullback and Dak back there to clean up and let it go that way. So maybe it's just an adjustment of things. Maybe Darren's has gotten away from, that. We'll see. Maybe we'll see. Real quick before we get into the rest of our listening questions, a quick shout out to everyone who's been supporting River City 93. If you enjoyed this show and want to help us keep covering the Richmond Kickers and the Richmond Ivy, can't forget them because Kate's going to start coverage on them soon. You can support us through our Ko-Fi page. It's a simple way to help the cost of running the podcast. It also allows us to keep bringing you interviews, pre-match interviews, everything that's happening in and around the club. If you would like to support the show, head on over to rivercity93.com/support. Again, that is rivercity93/support. Every bit helps, and we truly appreciate it. Now, we get over to the list of the questions that fans have sent us. If you want to send us a list of the questions, you can do so by joining the Discord, going to the River City 93 tab and sending a question there, or via Instagram or Blue Sky, or just emailing it to us. We're all around. We'll get the question, or just ask us at the tailgate. We'll get it eventually. But this first one comes from Paul. This is a real dated one, so give me a second. I got to make sure I get this right. All right, so it says the Kickers' early season possession numbers: 23% versus AV Alton, 36% against FC Naples, 39% against Nova FC. They're bad. They're beyond abysmal. 2 of the 3 goals of the season have been from Kirk and Deep. It also begs the question, how can this team find constant offense? On the flip side of that, Alex added this, but I thought it was good to add this. On the flip side of that, just 2 goals conceded in 3 matches, and 1 was a PK last night, which was a fluke goal, kind of sort of. So
it wasn't a fluke goal. That was a very intentional goal last night.
I was just reading the rest of Alex's question.
I know. I saw it too. I thought you were going to edit that part out, and I was going to be like, no.
Hey, there's no one more objective than League One Updater. So if League One Updater said it, it's true.
Sure. She got a point. So yeah, like if you are in charge of crafting the early story of what this team is, where do you fall out on this issue? Where do you fall out on this? Is it abysmally as bad as you thought it been, or
I'm not super mad about the low possession numbers because we've suffered through too many seasons of high percentage numbers and the same number of points, on the league table. So I'm not necessarily mad that we are lower possession. Obviously, it's pretty concerning that we even still only had 40% possession against an amateur team, because you would kind of hope just through the natural balance of your squads, you'd be able to be on the ball a little bit more. So I'm not necessarily mad at the low possession numbers, but it's the flip side of that, which is that the scoring on the break, we haven't seen it happen very often or very consistently. So if you're going to be a team that plays counterattacking football, like, you have to have higher, you have to be pretty clinical, because you need to capitalize on those opportunities when you get them. So obviously we're hoping that we're going to get some more clinical strikers back in the team more regularly. So at least for me, I'm hoping that our attacks will look more clinical when we have Dourado and Espinal in the team more regularly. So yeah, I'm not necessarily mad about the low percentage numbers, but it's doesn't bode well that if we don't have those dynamic, unpredictable attackers, that their counterattacks look so toothless.
Okay, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers.
I love how you had the eye roll before you answer. I just want to say that.
You what?
So I find it hilarious how you had the eye roll before you answer. You were like,
"Did I?
How do I make this sound?"
No, I didn't. Wasn't a conscious one, so. Yeah, it's not a matter of not needing higher possession. Like Kate said, we've played that game before and doesn't work great. There's a long history in this league of the better teams, not being on the ball as much. I think the current numbers are a little bit too far on the extreme, of it. Like, it's you can be a very, very good team and have 40%, possession. In the 20s and 30s, it gets a lot tougher to make that work sustainably. So, you'd hope it picks up a little bit more every time. We've talked about this enough over the last, hour or so. So, yeah, and then kind of building on what Kate was saying too, counterattacking can be great, but there's a difference between counterattacking and what we're doing right now, which is literally just old school, like proper English, football, route one long ball nonsense, where it's like, let's kick it long and hope somehow their guy doesn't, intercept it, and Josh or Dourado or whoever is fast enough, to be able to chase it down, and it's going at a good enough angle they can do something with it when they chase it down. Like Kirkland was able to get that one, in the first half, but he chased it down and it was at a very tight angle, and he did well with that, to make Dourado make a save right there. But I mean, that's a low percentage, chance that he just made something of it. Yeah. If he's realistically only going to get one of those a game, you got to hope it's more centralized, and it feels like a lot of hope, rather than I guess there is intentionality. I guess we just question the intentionality behind it.
Yeah. I'm already made my thoughts known on it. I mean, yeah, I still got 7 games left to judge the team fully. I'm gonna use all 7.
It would be great to see that we haven't. I can think only 1 or 2 so far this year.
What?
Across.
Only from the corner flag.
Yeah.
Like, we really haven't seen too much going up the wings and ball getting swung in the middle at all.
Look, it still has elements. This even still has elements of Darren Ball, but you're right. We haven't seen a cross.
I mean, there's obviously been a few. It's a little bit of exaggeration, but
I mean, yeah, outside of the one that I can think of against AV Alta, where
Freeman got up.
Yeah, got up. There really hasn't been a lot. All right. Something to think about. Next question we got is from Julian, who's probably not too happy about the Newcastle and Sunderland result. But he asks, what is the biggest howler you have ever seen at City Stadium? And for those who don't know what a howler is, that's a miss.
Jeez. So he's talking about like from the ref perspective, because obviously he was not a fan of the red card. I assume that's the context of it, right?
I was thinking about it as shot miss because I have one Kickers player in mind.
Oh, you go ahead and talk about that while I try to think.
Okay. So the way I interpreted it was like biggest miss, like missed goal, and it's Hernan. And I'm trying to remember. I remember exactly. I'm trying to remember the team. I think it might have been against Ormenta. He got around the goalkeeper, and the net is wide open. He just misses it like to the left, like he just completely missed it, and it was bad. Like it was bad. That's probably one of the biggest misses. He was in the center of the goal. It wasn't as if he was like running on goal, anything. He was standing there. The ball got crossed to him. Got behind the goalkeeper. All he had to do was tap it in, and he taps it to the left into the billboard. That was bad. That's all. That's the biggest mistake I think.
So I can remember. I have no idea who we were playing. Had to be like maybe 04-ish, something like that. McCollum Cephas, he was a small, quick striker. Like him and Deli were a great, combo. They played at VCU together. Played for us together for a couple of years. He had a header from about 2 yards out. Heads it down, and it manages to bounce over the goal from about 2 yards. So that, in terms of ref errors, I'm sure there's probably been some. I remember one time, we benefited from it. Ball, came in kind of like Lucca's, midweek, underside of the crossbar down, clearly, crossed the line, but came back out, without actually hitting any of the net.
Oh.
Didn't give the goal. We weren't going to say nothing about it.
Okay. All right.
The other team said a lot about it. They didn't get their goal.
I would imagine so. Kate, what about you? Anything?
Yeah, nothing's. I can't really remember any specific incidents, but there's definitely been a lot of matches where it felt like the fact that there was a crowd and there was an atmosphere turned the ref against the Kickers. So we've seen that a lot. It feels from our perspective like we've seen that a lot where
like, y'all have fans? Everything.
Yeah, where the other team is just a little more practiced in the dark arts, and you just the pendulum swing of fouls is completely on their side. But yeah, it's been pretty 50-50 in the years I've been watching in terms of the red cards, like who gets them, if we get them or the other team gets them, because there's definitely been a couple iffy ones that other teams have gotten that we've certainly sang them off the field while quietly celebrating our good fortune. But
verbatim from my wife during the game, she was at home watching it. Damn, Elliot, this ref must have got cheated on by some chick in Richmond. Y'all must have really pissed this man off. End quote.
Oh my God. I do also remember, I don't remember what the incident was, but last season during one of the Ivy matches, the ref made a pretty bad, it wasn't like a contact call, but it was an offsides or it was something. And either the AR or the center didn't make the call. And there was an observer, a USSF observer in the box watching, and was not happy with the call the referee made. So that was a little bit, it went against the Ivy. So that was one of the more gratifying experiences, was seeing a terrible call in person and basically having the referee's boss next to you in the press box, noting down the mistake that they made and being like, yep, this is going in my report. So ever since then, I've hoped that there's been observers in the box every time that there's refereeing performances we disagree with.
There you go. Those are always fun when those people are there and you're like, oh, you're here to see how badly he is.
Right. Like, it's not just us. This is objectively, what's going on is objectively bad.
Okay. Real quick, because we've been on this for an hour and whatnot, and we're trying to wrap this up in a respectable time. First 3 games, of course, is from Banana, but who's been your most impressive returning kicker and your most impressive new kicker? Matt, I'll start with you.
I mean, there's not a lot of options for returning. I think it's got to be Hayden by default. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could say Josh, but I'm going to go Hayden. He's been
Okay.
more integral to more of the game.
Okay.
And also, I think just expectation level for each, like, you know,
the little engine who could. Whatever we could.
Yeah, great on the curve.
You hear me, Kate?
Oh, favorite returning. Yeah.
Oh, you can do new. Let's give
We're
you
new.
Return.
I would. It's like I think maybe Yann I've been most impressed with, because we've seen, because we had no expectations for him. We weren't even entirely sure how much he would replace Snedden, because, you know, we've been told they're trying to flip these young players. So maybe he was just coming in as a more of a mentor figure. So to see a signing step into a role that had been fine enough for us, it wasn't necessarily the area we were hoping to upgrade the most. But to see it, what feels like we get the height, we have a tall keeper. what is it? We have like a grown man who's really tall in goal. So that's really special. And I thought, yeah, he's just been very commanding, and he's loud and angry at times. And so it does feel like there's maybe it starts in the very back, the sort of the stronger maybe mentality. So been pretty happy with. I had no expectations for him. Who knew what we were going to get? And so far, it seems to have been a good bit of business.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, everyone, before we wrap up today's shows, don't forget the Richmond Kickers play Friday against One Knox. That's Saturday. Friday against One Knox Soccer Club. They also play midweek Tuesday against Corpus Christi. So they're quote unquote rebuilding their home record, which the league said was 21 games, but Kickers fans would love to say that record was broken in City Stadium because their flood.
No, it wasn't. The home game was the one that they beat the crap out of us.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Whatever. I just want to live with the Lord that we beat them. We actually beat the record. So yeah, disregard all of that. Just know we play One Knox again. Will Darwin start this game? I'm pretty sure Darren is like, I don't know, son. But yeah,
He's still got a little PTSD from last year.
Probably. I know I will. Any last things from you, Matt or Kate, before we wrap up?
No, get your tickets for Loudon. You know, April 1st. You know, cup games are fun. And last time you're going to get to see the team for a while, because we got some road games coming up and unexpected off weeks, Tormenta.
Yeah. It messed me up because I was about to be like, oh, I'm off for 2 shows. I'm only out for 1, which, by the way, I won't be on the podcast next week. So Matt and Kate will do a fantastic job talking about the win and whatnot.
We're only going to talk about how much we miss you.
That's hilarious. It will talk about missing me. Are there any last things from you, man?
No. Yeah, but other than get your ticket, because our next home league match isn't until April 18th. So that's a long stretch to go without being at City Stadium.
It is. But if you haven't, make sure you join the Discord. We're talking about some fantastic thing in there. I think, Kate, are they planning the road trip still for Loudon?
Yeah, later this spring, we've got some feelers out for whether folks might be interested in doing what matches people might be interested in, maybe coordinating some away days. So keep an eye out across our different Red Army groups for a poll about away days.
So yeah, make sure you join the Discord. All the cool people are in there having a good old conversation about the rules, about everything. If you want to talk about Premier League or photography or whatever, it's all in there. For Matt, Kate, myself, and the rest of the River City 93 crew, we just want to say thank you for taking the time out of your day for listening to our podcast. Without you, we couldn't do this. We wouldn't want to do this. For everyone here, be easy and be safe. Because next time, not only will we be talking about one win, we might be talking about two. We'll see you guys next week. Be easy and be safe.